I'm exhausted.
This is a Lazy Teacher Podcast.
How you doing? I'm Brian Pulowski. Welcome to the Lazy Teacher Podcast, episode 4. Welcome back to the Lazy Teacher Podcast, episode 4 on field trips. Boy, are field trips exhausting. It's kind of like you don't realize it until you get back, but they're tiring. They're so tiring. We went on a field trip today. We went to the pumpkin patch. And when I say that the children were excited, that's kind of an understatement. They were very excited. Most of the students never been on a bus before. Go figure, right? Growing up, we went on the bus every day. In fact, I took the bus to school, elementary, middle school. I don't think high school. Tiring, very tiring. You know, you got to plan everything. You got to get everything all set and straight. Name tags. Well, if you have little ones, name tags for sure. Organize the chaperones. Chaperones are great as long as the chaperones are doing their job. So it's like you almost feel like a dictator because you have to sit with them and say, okay, so here's the plan. You know, we're going to walk our lines like a sandwich. You know, I'm the front of the sandwich. You're the back of the sandwich. Please make sure that the students stay in line, that they're well behaved. I could go on and on and on. And it's difficult because, you know, I guess it's a talent to be a good chaperone. I didn't think it'd have to be, but fortunately, I do have good chaperones. But it is a little tricky, and you can get some lazy ones. But hey, I'm a lazy teacher. We're all lazy teachers sometimes, so you take the good with the bad. But it was a great time. Went and saw pumpkins and little hayride and all that wonderful stuff like that. Goats, oh my gosh! So the kids got to like pet goats, which is kind of interesting because there's like a secret to feeding goats, and you know, I guess you don't know unless you visit goats. So, anyways, so you get food, and the technique it's kind of like you have to like hold your hands out like this, and then put it down low for them, so they'll eat the food, and they love it. Right? So even if you don't have food, you can put your hand down there and pretend like you have food and pet them. And the most friendly goats, they're awesome. But here's where it gets a little bit tricky. If your hands are up, right? Like this, like don't touch me. Or what most of the students do when they're frightened. Right? I don't know what you are. I'm not used to you. I put my hands up. Okay, so that the goat thinks there's the food. So the goat jumps up and goes after the food because your hands are up. So that was an experience in itself. Is the kids that were scared or crying or whatever because the goat tried to eat me. Well, goat didn't try and eat you. Goat just thought you had food and you got scared. I didn't want to touch that goat. Did I mention field trips are exhausting? It was a lot of fun. We ate there, and then, you know, as I stated earlier, believe it or not, the bus is just as much fun to the kids as the field trip itself. So go figure. And loud, it is a little loud on the bus. And what's a good bus ride without the wheels on the bus go round and round, right? So especially if you're in kindergarten. Kids thought that was a novelty, so that was pretty awesome. But yeah, great time in itself. Let's see what else. I think we're gonna go on another field trip later. Actually, this was our second field trip. That one was nice though. First field trip was a walking field trip. I highly advise a walking field trip if you can handle it. If you got somewhere close to your school, so much easier. So much easier. And a lot less expensive. The buses are ridiculously expensive, but hey, again, so much worth it. And we were literally on countdown until the pumpkin patch field trip. The kids were just jacked on going. They had a great time, super fun, sitting on benches. For many of them, unfortunately, in an area that I teach, most of the kids haven't even like left the city. So tired. I'm tired, and I loved it. It was a lot of fun, and the kids loved it. But that's kind of the idea behind everything, is that it's exhausting. And the kids, oh my gosh, the kids slept on the bus. Now on the way there, I was a little bit different, but on the way home, easily 25%, maybe even 50%. I didn't see the other class were sleeping. It was a lot of walking, a lot of in the sun. It was just it was awesome. Kids had a great time. So get your kids out there on a field trip. It's well worth it. It's just tiring, but hey, so is teaching. Hey, thanks for checking in today. It's always a pleasure. Love to see that you guys are listening in on the Lazy Teacher Podcast. If you have any comments, concerns, I don't know, anything at all that you want to talk about or hear on the show, go ahead and shoot me an email. It's the lazyteacherpodcast@gmail.com. Read my emails all the time. I love hearing from you guys. Bring up whatever I can when I got the time. I'm getting a lot of emails, but hey, we go through them as fast as we can over here. Like I said, I'm a lazy teacher. What am I going to do? So there we go, huh? Lazy Teacher Podcast. Love having you guys here. See ya! Thanks for listening to the Lazy Teacher Podcast. If you want to help support the show, you can leave us a review on iTunes or Stitcher, like us or subscribe on YouTube, or shoot us an email and comment at Brian, BRIAN, at thelazyteacherpodcast.com.